All right guys, so today we're going to continue wrapping on my 2022 Toyota Tundra here in the Gloss Verde Solaris from KPMF, a brand new color, my KPMF matte sky blue. You guys seem to hate it at first, then grew to love it. This one you guys love right away, so that's pretty cool right there. 99% of you guys, at least. The other 1% can buy your own Tundra and do whatever color you want. Got pretty much the entire front end done, except for this little piece right here. And for those who don't know, who have a 22 Tundra, this cover piece right here pops right off without the bumper coming off. So that came off super easily. But anyways, some of you guys were asking me to kind of show you guys like how to, I guess, a little more in depth on how to wrap. I'll show you guys a little more in depth of what I've done in the past, compared to what I've done in the past on how to wrap this truck. For example, things like the door handles have to come off, right? In general, I leave on the majority of the parts on like my cars and trucks that I wrap. You don't need to take bumpers off and stuff like that. In fact, I think it's a lot easier to leave bumpers like attached to the truck because it like keeps it more stable. But the parts I have to remove, like the door handles right here, I'll remove the window trims and stuff like that, and the fender flares and the taillights and things like that to make it a little bit easier. Probably by the next video, we'll have everything done and a proper wrap reveal here on the Tundra. So let's get on home and get right to it. And just like that, the rain has officially descended, which with that comes some pretty cold weather, which means I chose probably the worst couple of days here to finish up wrapping my truck. That'll lead me to my first bit of advice for you guys when wrapping on your own projects is to make sure at least the environment you're wrapping in is on the warmer side. It makes it so much easier to wrap because the wrap is pretty brittle when it's this cold in the garage. I can't close my garage door while working on my truck because with the garage door closed and the truck in here, it's a super snug fit. I'm inches away from the wall in front of it and then inches away from the garage door, and there's not a lot of room to work around the truck when I'm trying to wrap it. It's a lot easier with the garage door open. Not impossible, but definitely a lot easier when it's a nice warmer day, or at least the space you're working in is warmer. For the most part, everything stays on the truck. I've definitely heard my fair share of shops say things like, well, we do it the right way and we remove, you know, the bumpers and the headlights and all these panels that I find to be super unnecessary to remove when laying down some wrap. But there are some things you can't avoid removing, such as the door handles. Those there need to come off in order to wrap behind them. There's no way to get around that. I like to balance efficiency with results, right? So if it's a lot easier to remove the panel, I'd probably spend more time trying to work around the fender flare here, laying down the wrap clean around it, than removing the actual fender flare. But the bumpers, for example, those do not need to come off whatsoever. I left those on and it made it a lot easier, I feel like, because mainly the reason why is when you have panels off, it makes the panel like move around. Even when you put it on a stand and you're pulling the wrap over it, the wrap will pull the panel with it too, and just make it just all cattywampus. It also popped off this fog light bezel piece right here, this plastic trim piece that goes around the fog lights. Came out super easily. It's literally clipped on, so I yanked it right off, and it gave me a little more room to work with over here. This piece down here does not come off as easily. It's fixed to the entire bumper, so I left it on there and worked around it, tucking it along the edge right here. Pop the door panel off. So now we're gonna wrap up the driver's side bedside here. I came down last night and wrapped up the passenger side, that's all done. But now you and me together are gonna wrap up the driver's side here. And I'm gonna show you guys a little more in detail how I actually lay down the vinyl onto the surface of the truck. But first, I wanna read some comments on this new color, because comments are always kind of a curious thing. And if there's one thing I've learned since doing YouTube for the last couple of years here, it's that people do not like change, at least initially. Then they always end up coming around. The same people that hate it at first end up saying they absolutely love whatever it may be, any major modification or a redesign on a complete vehicle. They hate it at first. I remember all the comments when I first got my 2019 Silverado. When I first bought it, it had just recently came out and everybody absolutely hated it. And then everyone started coming around and saying they absolutely love it. And then same applied to when I had this truck wrapped up in the matte sky blue. Everyone seemed to like not everyone, but a lot of people definitely weren't fond of it initially, and then the same people came around and said they absolutely love it. And so yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where people don't like change and then they grow to love it once they get used to it. But surprisingly, right out the gate, dude, everyone has very positive things to say about this color right here, which to me is very surprising because this is a major modification. But I'm seeing nothing but fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji. Can't wait to see it. Love that color. Wow, love it, fire emoji, heart emoji, fire emoji. It's nothing but positive feedback. There are gonna be a couple of negative, some haters. You gotta have haters once in a while. You can't live with them, you can't live without them. End of the day, they're still fans, they still love it. And it's kind of funny too, because I've seen a few comments come through, maybe 1% of you guys don't like it. You haters, don't like it. And that's cool, I get it, it's not for everybody, but the majority seem to love it. And I'm not saying that I'm doing it for everyone else. I do things that I want to do because, well, it's my truck, and if you don't like this color, then buy your own Tundra and wrap it whatever color you want. That's totally up to you. But I love this color, or I loved the color when I saw it online, and I had to go for it, and here we are. So now I want a chili verde burrito. That's pretty funny right there. That's the OG Game Boy green color. Well, he said puke green color, but this guy says color ugly AF. Sky blue or black looked a million times better, and I guarantee if I look deep enough, I could find the same comment from the same guy about the blue looking terrible, and then now that it's green, he's saying blue is better. So basically whatever I don't have, he thinks is better. It's a hater, it's all good. Fancy way of saying metallic mustard. Welcome to the baby green crew. Thank you. Anyways, let's get to wrapping down the driver's side bedside there. I'll show you guys some tips and tricks. I'm not gonna go super crazy in detail on how to vinyl wrap, but I will say overall, the #1 tip when it comes to vinyl wrapping is repetition. I feel like years ago when I was trying to practice on my own car, I saw all these like tips and stuff like that on like how-to videos on YouTube of how to wrap a car. But the #1 thing was just repetition, like practicing over and over and over again until I got good. No matter how much I knew, it was kind of one of those things where you had to like just practice over and over. Be patient, it's a very patient process, and then preparation's everything as well. I feel like I spend more time prepping than actually wrapping. The actual wrapping is very, very quick and easy. Once you get it down and figure out how to just lay down vinyl and like not overstretch vinyl wrap and stuff like that, just laying it down is actually very straightforward. Just keep practicing. If it's an abomination your first couple of times. Mine was too. It does not come naturally, or maybe it does a little more to some than others. But regardless, you can over time practice it to the point where you're a professional. And now I'm doing panels in minutes pretty much. But it took years to get to that point, and at least probably a year to 2 years to get good enough to where it took me even a couple of hours to do a panel, but it still came out awesome. And now, flash forward years later, now I'm knocking panels out super, super quick, but that takes years to get to that point. But regardless, you can still get it done at, not super quickly, but eventually after, some time, you get quicker and quicker. But give it a little while. Practice, repetition is the number one tip I can give you guys, and patience is a huge virtue as well. So anyways, let's chop up some material and get to laying it down there on the driver's side bedside there, and get her done by the next video. I wiped everything down around the bedside too, not just the bedside, but I wiped down the bumper, the bed cover, the doors, the wheel liner, and stuff like that too, because when I peel the wrap from the liner, the wrap is very static, so it wants to cling to all the dirt and debris anywhere near it. So making sure the area around the area that you're wrapping is clean is very important too. I have some knifeless cutting tape here. As you can see, there's a string underneath the tape So what we do is we peel this and lay it onto the surface, wrap over it, and when we pull the string, it goes through the wrap and it cuts the wrap nice and clean without using a blade there on the paint. So 7 feet is what I'll cut. That gives me roughly 4 to 5 inches of excess on the front side and the back side. You don't want too much. That's the key also, is not having too much vinyl wrap and not having too little. You want to have just kind of enough. Now this part is very important, so pay attention. The mission for now is to get all the wrinkles to go in one direction parallel to the longest part of the panel. Then we'll focus on getting the wrinkles to go all of this direction right here, from the top of this area here to the bottom of this part of the bedside. Also gonna need to cut off some of the wrap right here. We have way too much going on right here. And the reason why you don't wanna have too much excess is because once we have all those lines going in that one solid direction, we wanna come from underneath the wrap and then lift it up just a little bit and then give it a slight pull, and that'll get rid of all of those lines, or the wrinkles I mean, that we have going in one direction. If we have too much film here, it's hard to get close enough to those wrinkles to pull them out. So that's pretty much it, and then it'll all be glass and ready for us to tack it down and cut off all the excess and give it a post heat. Notice how we have some wrinkles towards the very end of the wrap, where I need to wrap into probably about right about there. So a little bit of ways to go. Instead of picking it up right here at the very end and just pulling the wrinkle, it's way better to pull it back a little bit and then evenly stretch out the entire area. I'll use 2 hands in a minute here, but you want to evenly distribute out all of that stretch and not just pick up the wrinkle and pull the wrinkle down, because then you have overstretching in that small little area, and that's how you eventually get wrinkles. Gotta hit them with that knifeless tape. Check that out. Clean cut. The entire panel has been laid down and everything has been cut out. Came out super clean. Now it's time to post heat all the areas that I had to either stretch the material or lay the material in, such as this little dip right here and this area right here. So I'm gonna post heat it with the heat gun up to 180 degrees to kill the old memory. Right now it's at 68.9. So we'll heat it up, kill the old memory right there, right up in here, and also down here as well. And that right there is about all I'm giving you guys for this video. You gotta stay tuned for the next video for that full wrap reveal. Also, to everyone following the channel, the Instagram account, keep those positive comments coming. To all the haters, well, we love and support you too. It's pretty much all I have for you guys for right now. As always, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys on the next one very soon for the full wrap reveal. Till then, peace.